Welcome to the introductory episode of Lore Masters, Legends, and Loopholes. I'm Eldroth.
And I am Gregorius. We're a pair of hardcore nerds, and we decided to start this podcast of fun, just to see where it went. So please enjoy. We're going to be talking about a large variety of things, and we've divided them into four main categories. Number one, gaming. This is an extremely broad category, but leaves a lot of room to work with.
I, Eldroth, am primarily a Minecraft and tabletop strategy battle gaming type of person.
And I play all sorts of video games, including Minecraft, some tabletop games, and a variety of SPS games.
While discussing gaming, we are going to go over a wide array of topics within the gaming world. While discussing Minecraft, we will cover speedruns, YouTubers, PvP techniques and tricks, servers, game updates, and whatever other tidbits we happen to come across.
I personally have a little bit more experience in the video game field than Eldroth, so when it comes to games other than Minecraft, I will do most of the talking while Eldroth will ask me questions.
In the field of tabletop strategy battle games, we will be talking almost exclusively about Warhammer systems. I am an avid and very experienced player of the Middle-earth strategy battle game, and I will talk for hours about it.
The game specifically that we'll be talking the most about is Warhammer 40,000. Where Eldroth is an Eldari player, and I have not quite decided yet, but I'm leaning more towards Space Marines. Eldroth is very, very much so into the gameplay side of it, and loves the tactics and list-building aspects of the hobby, while I am more into the lore.
He doesn't want to say it, but he's an expert on the lore. I have just gotten into Warhammer Age of Sigmar, where I am looking into playing Sylvaneth. So as time goes on, we will probably add Age of Sigmar content. Our second category is technically a game, but it's also broad enough to be its own thing. And that thing is Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Dungeon Master for what is called the Eternal Realms campaign, and Gregorius here is my star player. He is playing a fighter, multi-classing into cleric, devoted to Technoblade. If I were to play, I would probably make my appearance as a bard with trust issues.
While discussing Dungeons & Dragons, we will talk about DMing tips, or techniques, tips for players, funny stories from the D&D community, and also a series of episodes breaking down each class and its advantages and disadvantages, seeing how well they compare at different levels.
Our third category is superheroes. We will spend most of our time in this category discussing the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as that is what I am most knowledgeable about. However, I do also have a decent knowledge of the comics, as well as a fairly broad knowledge of DC, both the comics and the movies. Gregorius here, however, has vastly superior knowledge to mine in just about everything but the MCU. He knows all the comics, both the mainstream ones and every single spin-off that's ever happened.
Well, not every single one, but I do know quite a bit. We'll be doing things like power rankings, who would win scenarios, and whatever else we really want. Definitely comparing speedsters. We'll also dip into some other comics with similar themes or ideas, such as Godzilla.
Our final category is arguably the broadest, and it is fantasy and science fiction. I have read hundreds, if not thousands, of books in my lifetime, and have tried to imbibe as much fantasy and sci-fi as I possibly can. I have a thorough knowledge of dozens of series, ranging from The Hunger Games and the Mortality Doctrine, to Foundation and the Ender Saga, to The Lord of the Rings and the Inheritance Cycle, as well as many more. I had to edit that list to reduce it to 6. Gregorius here might not read quite as much as I have, but he collects facts at an incomprehensible and, quite frankly, mind-boggling rate and scale. His brain is like some intergalactic filing cabinet or the Library of Cagliostro.
Now that we've discussed the sort of things that we will be doing on this podcast, we have a brief overview of the podcast itself, such as terms of access, length, and episode style. We will be going to record 1 or hopefully 2 episodes a month, and we'll probably have the episodes be half to an hour long, give or take 5 or 10 minutes. Sometimes we'll be rambling, following tangents, regardless if they're relevant or not. But sometimes we will stick to the script.
In terms of where you can find our podcast, we are currently on Patreon, YouTube, and Substack. And we will be shortly adding Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Amazon Podcasts. The reason we don't have them up yet is that they require at least one episode recorded in order to publish. So hopefully you'll be listening to this on one of those platforms. Now, if you noticed that on Substack you can offer a pledge, or on Patreon you can get a paid subscription. Yes, you noticed that correctly. What are the perks of that? So if you are just listening for free, you're going to get all of the episodes of the podcast. We're not going to deny you content for not paying, because we don't like that either.
But if you do decide to pay, you will be receiving episodes about a week early.
Yeah, and we will also have a Discord server. I think I actually already put it together, that you'll get access to as well, where you can talk to us, submit questions, and topics for discussion. And if you get the higher tier subscription, we will give you a shout out at the end of episodes. Now, I would suggest subscribing via Patreon because A, it's cheaper, because Substack would only let me place a certain minimum pledge amount per month, and Patreon was just like, okay, sure, do whatever amount you want. So we do have tiers there. And also it does it automatically. So if you do it via Substack, I have to do that, check that manually, and might miss you. So just be aware of that. Now that we have talked about what we're going to be discussing and what the podcast is going to be like in terms of length and when we're releasing in the paid side, I guess we should talk about ourselves a little bit. So, Gregorius, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Like I stated in the beginning, we are both hardcore nerds. We greatly enjoy the collection of knowledge, sharing stories, generally just finding things like Eldroth here said earlier, like Lord of the Rings and such things, of just good fantasy stories, or in some cases sci-fi stories, that are just all around entertaining. We will probably speak on some random unrelated stuff, but on my side of things, I have a very wide bandwidth of knowledge. I do dabble more on the media side of stuff, like video games and the like, though I am an avid reader. So
yeah. I am also a hardcore nerd. As Gregorius just said, I study Latin and Greek. So yeah, that's bizarre, a lot of people would say, but it's fun. Yeah, I run a blog where I talk about current affairs, which is mostly for fun because I don't have a lot of subscribers. But yeah, and then I enjoy reading a lot. I write fantasy as a hobby. Okay, not exactly a hobby. I want to get it published so I don't have to pay for tuition to get a degree in engineering or something. But yeah, that's me. So now that we've gotten all of the setup out of the way, we are going to start, I guess, with our first topic, which is the recent, how do you describe it? Like arrival or upheaval?
I describe it as an upheaval, or more of a burst of attention on one specific, very-ish random thing.
Okay. As you may have noticed, in probably like the last 2 weeks is when this has really
taken off.
Yeah. The Minecraft YouTubers Dream and Daquavis have been sparring, and then just a day or two ago agreed to a $100,000 duel.
Well, this is interesting, but also mildly concerning. There's people jumping to vastly different conclusions, ranging from it's going to be a fair fight, leaning in their own respective biases, or a total pub stomp floor washing of the other side.
Yeah. So, Gregorius, do you want to talk a little bit about Dream before I discuss Daquavis?
Uh, well, Dream has been popular in the Minecraft, I guess, consciousness for a couple years now. He does speed running. He's dabbled in several different kinds of hunter versus speedrun or speedrunner versus hunter, and has played with the likes of Technoblade and Mr. Beast, and has shown up in, I'd say, several of his different videos.
Yeah, a lot of them
A
actually.
lot of them. But he's a very skilled player. There's no way to deny that. He's, I believe, holding 3 separate world records in different versions of Minecraft, and is very, very educated in the different ways Minecraft systems work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think he's currently 7th on the overall leaderboards for MCC in terms of all-time points scored. So, yeah, which is sort of odd because like Sapnap has a higher score than him, but Sapnap can't compete in PvP. But random tangent, as we said.
And on the other side of the ring.
Yes, on the other side of the ring is Daquavis. Now, okay, some people might say Daquavis, a couple pronunciations. I'm going to say Daquavis. But over the past year, Daquavis has become a really big thing. I think he's around 10.8, 11 million subscribers at the moment. And a lot of his content is him doing Dream and Technoblade level stunts in Minecraft, whether that's speedrunning or fighting hunters or Bed Wars matches and stuff like that. He has...
Really, he's trying to fill the power vacuum that was left by the unfortunate loss of Techno and the controversy around Dream.
Yeah. And so over the last... about 2 weeks ago, Daquavis released a YouTube short where he's playing Bed Wars on Hypixel, playing against Dream.
Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly, a paid actor. And goes and...
What would be the words?
Yeah, he just goes and destroys Dream without Dream even having a shot.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yes. And so Dream responded shortly afterwards by including that short in his own, and then responding to Daquavis saying that he would be happy to duel him at some point to actually test his skills as opposed to just making claims. And Daquavis responded that he didn't want Dream's views. Now, while it is true that Daquavis has been getting a much higher number of views in the last couple of weeks, maybe last 2 months, I think it's a couple million more than Dream.
Mm-hmm.
He only has 10.8 million subscribers, maybe 11 million now, and Dream is, 32 million?
Somewhere around there, in the 30s.
Yeah, but after replying that he didn't want his views, he would be willing to duel Dream on the condition that the loser paid the winner $100,000, to clarify.
And Dream heard this and probably took this to heart and said, if you're wanting to play with fire, we might as well throw in some jet fuel.
Yeah, and responded saying that, how about we just name an amount. For example, how about we go for your entire bank balance, so when the duel is over, you'll be homeless.
Going straight for the throat.
Yep. And so...
they've been going back and forth for the past week and a half
mm-hmm.
on just hyping each other up and trashing on the opponent.
Yeah, Dream is cooked, Daquavis is cooked, stuff like that. Yeah, and recently Dream announced via YouTube that he and Daquavis had spoken privately to and had arranged a 1v1 duel for the original 100,000. Now, Daquavis is interesting. He has a lot of content where he goes and pub stomps everybody. It's not even close. But the thing is, he uses software to improve his gameplay and also edit afterwards. I believe the specific software is TAS. I don't know a lot about it.
It stands for it's like Task System Achiever or something along those lines. I don't remember the specific thing, but what it does is it's a specific program that will do certain actions to a certain degree, and this is used in things like unofficial speedruns, and there's liking to get a general line going for speedruns and stuff to get the most optimized route.
Okay. Yeah, and then a lot of his content is also allegedly contains paid actors to play with him. Now, I have gone back, and a number of other people have gone back to look at some of his older live streams. And while he does actually seem to be quite good at parkour, his PvP skills are terrible.
I wouldn't say terrible. I'd say more along the lines of to be desired.
Yeah, to be desired, yeah. Especially in terms of the use of bows.
Yes, particularly in their arts of ranged combat.
Now, he responded recently with another YouTube short saying, I know a lot of people have accused me of using TAS and of using paid actors, and while this is true for some of my videos where I'm staging things for views, I have assembled a bunch of clips here of some of my actual gameplay. And now, while it does look a little more legitimate, some people have gone over and analyzed them and pointed out things that went wrong. For example, when he cobwebbed up an opponent who had ender pearls, the opponent just let him assemble a TNT cannon without pearling away and died to that. So
how official or clean, as you could say, these clips are is debatable at best, but I mean, Minecraft's a large game. There's a lot of different people playing it, so it could have been that it was a less experienced player, but still, it's there's lots of controversy going around.
Yeah, I did occasionally see one or two things that did actually seem good, but overall wasn't very impressed, taking into consideration software assistance and paid actors.
Like there is such things as, like in my experience of first-person shooters and online games, I did dabble in games like Call of Duty for a little bit, and there was a little bit like heavy emphasis on the little bit of cheaters that I encountered, and they did have things where it's like they could be a really good player, or the more likely is they have things that like improve their aim or like ease of use type things where it's like they push a button and it will do a specific action while they do other actions, so it eases up their amount of clicks per minute or actions per minute.
Yeah. Now, on the opposite side of the playing field, in terms of PvP skills, we have Dream.
Ooh, man.
Like, by far, without debate, or I guess not without debate since Daquavis has appeared on the scene, but
with slight debate.
With slight debate, clearly the second greatest player of Minecraft in the history of the game, lost to Technoblade by only 2 rounds.
A mere few pixels.
Yeah. 7th in terms of MCC, all-time points, and all-time is hard to do. Yeah, and on top of overall MCC, just 3 speedrun records, which is crazy. Like, I don't know anyone else who holds multiple.
Well, I mean, there's a couple, but it's like they're not as popular or in the limelight, so to say.
Yeah, and at least in terms of popularity at the time of the Technoblade versus Dream duel back in, was it 2020?
I think it was 2020 or 2021.
Yeah,
I think it was
sense.
2021.
Okay. But at that point, he was the fastest growing creator on the platform. And then one of his most recent videos, the one that he did is like the April Fool's joke. The what is it, Minecraft speedrunner versus Zero Hunters. That was crazy.
Where it's a Dream versus his three friends, but they all have invisibility and
I think they could fly, or maybe.
Yeah,
definitely invisibility.
Definitely invisibility and debatable flight. But at random times in the video, you'll see him turn around and just start swinging in a direction, and you won't hear impact sounds or damage sounds or anything like that, or see like a flashing character or anything like that. It's just like we don't hear any of the like actual game audio as much from Dream's side, which we can only assume that he has like some of the highest end headphones and such things, so he can actually keep up with that, because there is audio cues for walking on different blocks and stuff in Minecraft. So just the attention to detail of separating your own footprints while sprint jumping from your opponents who are actively chasing you is just, it's an incredible display of skill.
And just the ability to like tell based on direction of knockback where the attacker is coming from is,
again, like I said, an incredible display of skill.
Yeah, like some people have been saying while discussing the Dream and Daquavis duel that Dream has been falling off a little bit recently, but
if we're to believe this new video for April Fool's, and it's not just a joke where he's just swinging in a direction.
Well, he was taking damage from the other players.
He was definitely taking damage. So
yeah, he is not falling off at all.
You can fall off views wise, but you're not falling off that much skill wise.
Yeah, and then just like the most famous part, I guess you could say, is Dream versus Technoblade. And for those of you who don't know what Technoblade did, he's by far the greatest Minecraft player of all time. He unfortunately passed away from cancer in June of 2022. But before then, in the 23 years that he was on this earth, compiled an absolutely incredible list of achievements. Let's see, 4 times Minecraft Monday winner. He holds the highest record as of right now. He established it like 4 years ago, and it hasn't been beaten since. But he currently holds the record for highest points in MCC. And then the famous duel with Dream, where Techno won 6 out of 10. But Dream playing against a player like Technoblade and winning 4 out of 10 is incredible. If you haven't seen the duel, go watch it. It's by far the most incredible PvP I've ever seen.
It's a little bit of bias speaking there. Eldroth here is just a little bit, just a tiny smidget of a Technoblade fan.
That's a severe, under exaggeration. I spend way too much time on the Technoblade subreddit, and right now I'm a top 10% poster and a top 10% commenter, I think, and I think I'm about to get my badge up to top 1%. So yeah, I am very obsessed with Technoblade in every aspect. I am not an artist, but I have spent hours putting up Technoblade art that I have painstakingly created on my walls. But yeah, Dream's Minecraft skills are more than enough to win this duel. Now, the format of the duel has not been decided yet, at least so far as I'm aware. When he made the announcement that he and Daquavis had agreed to a duel, Dream essentially asked the fan base, what do you think it should be like? A lot of comments that I have seen have said a 10 round duel, like the Dream versus Technoblade duel back in 2020 or 2021. Other people have suggested a combination of Bed Wars matches and Sky War matches and straight up PvP. I personally would prefer a full 10 rounds alternating game modes, or I guess ages of PvP. So like 1.8 and then 1.9 beyond. But yeah, in terms of how people think this duel is going to turn out, you essentially have three camps. There's
the side of, oh, Dream's going to win easy. You have the side of, oh, Daquavis is going to win easy. And then you have the people who are like myself, who are a little bit on the fence about it, where it's like, it's going to be an interesting fight either way, though we don't know how things are going to go because we have yet to know what the overall match is going to be like.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah, it depends on whether they're going to focus more on PvP or just Minecraft skills in general. In which case, Daquavis, I guess, has a slightly better shot given his parkour skills.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if it's a PvP focused duel, I am firmly of the opinion that Dream will sweep, although I am somewhat worried that Daquavis will find a way to cheat in some form. Who knows?
Fudge the scales
Fudge
in
the scales.
Fudge the scales in his favor, so to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's going to be interesting.
It's gonna be a good match.
Well, if
well,
not,
hopefully it's gonna be a good, honest match that'll be entertaining to watch.
Yes.
But
honesty is the priority, regardless of the result.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Don't lie. Lying is bad.
Yes.
Well, after the discussion of, I guess, the two titans, or
the Titan and
the David and the Goliath.
Sort of. A David who will potentially fail to be David.
A David and Goliath in the way of scale, of a person who's established themselves versus a person who's quite new.
Mm-hmm. I guess we'll see how that turns out. Although a quick note on Dream. So, for example, a part of the tangent system we're going to be using. For those of you who don't know, Dream, tomorrow at, I think it's 2 p.m. Eastern time, he is going to be live streaming and announcing his channel rebrand. Which I'm not sure, because I like the Dream brand and atmosphere and just overall community. Yeah.
But with the controversy and then pushing from different peoples,
including the Tommy in it situation from the past couple months, and now Daquavis.
And as well as a little bit left over still from Dream SMP, it's probably a matter of personal safety.
Yeah, that is honestly true. I guess we'll see. I really hope I like the new brand, because yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what he chooses.
Yeah, it'd be funny if he chose Cyberknife.
Little on the nose.
Yeah. For those of you who aren't aware, shortly before he passed, towards the end of the Dream SMP, Technoblade, who did most of the plot writing for the Dream SMP, had essentially said, we've gotten all the content we can out of this. How about we start fresh? And had sort of started putting together the Technoblade SMP. And on this SMP, while Technoblade would have continued to run his main channel for Sky Wars and Bed Wars commentaries and stuff like that,
he would have created a second channel by the name of Cyberknife as his alternative, so he could post about the Techno SMP.
Yeah, and the fun twist about Cyberknife was that if you've seen the Dream SMP, Technoblade is an anarchist. He hates and despises all forms of government.
But on his Cyberknife alt, he would be very pro-democracy and very pro-government.
Yes, that would have been
Very stark contrast.
Very stark, but it would have been so funny.
It would have been quite entertaining.
Well, thank you all for listening.
Hopefully, we'll come back for more after.
Yes, please come back for more. Next time, I guess we might start our D&D class comparison or something like that.
Something along those lines, potentially.
Yeah, but thank you for listening. Like, if you can. You can like on Patreon and YouTube and Substack. I don't know if you can like on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Amazon Podcasts.
We will find out when we do more research into them. But
like,
anyway.
if you can. Comment if you want to. We're happy to read feedback, look at topics for discussion, and all sorts of things, answer questions, and subscribe.
Thank you for listening.
Ad Victoria!
Ad Victoria.